Every year for the past 20 years, lecturers, human rights lawyers, law practitioners and students have met to argue and debate human rights at the African Human Rights Moot Court competition. In what has become a well-developed ritual, law students, professors and human rights experts are invited to take part in this test of oratory skill and persuasion in celebration of human rights and human rights education. It has become a permanent fixture on the African human rights calendar. Invitations are sent out to all 150 law faculties in Africa each year. They receive the hypothetical case to be argued and are invited to send 2 students, 1 man and 1 woman, as well as their lecturer in human rights or international law. The competition starts with preliminary rounds at the beginning of the week. Each team argues the case for both sides. On the one hand, the victim of alleged human rights violations, and on the other, the state that is alleged to be responsible for the violations. These preliminary rounds are held separately in English, French and Portuguese, judged by international human rights professors from the participating universities. At the end of 2 days of preliminary rounds, the best Anglophone, Francophone and Lusophone teams advance to the final round. They are mixed up by draw of lots to form 2 new combined teams with Anglophone, Francophone and Lusophone students on either side. In the spirit of collaboration and cooperation, they are challenged to work together despite the artificial colonial divide of language and legal tradition. Although set in a hypothetical country and with fictional characters, the hypothetical cases deal with burning contemporary human rights and development issues in Africa. The Moot includes a high-level 1-day international law and human rights conference on Africa, and an excursion to a place of historical relevance or natural wonder. The African Human Rights Moot Court competition has grown to become the meeting point of human rights defenders, students, lawyers and academics. From the very beginning, the Moot set out to support and strengthen African human rights institutions and to make the African Charter better known and used. 20 years later, the Moot competition has gone from a small academic event to a leading institution on which the African Commission on Human and People's Rights relies for the fulfillment of its mandate.
When the Moot Court competition started in the early 1990s, the African Court on Human and People's Rights did not actually exist. So it is fair to say, I think, that the Moot Court competition is one of the elements that brought attention to and awareness about the idea of an African court. And since the 90s, the court and the Moot Court competition, in a sense, developed in parallel. As the Moot Court competition grew into a truly continental event, the African court idea germinated in the protocol of 1998 and eventually in the functioning and the actual giving of judgments by the court after 2006.
2 decades as a leading figure on the landscape of human rights education in Africa makes the Moot competition a truly singular initiative with singular milestones. 20 years of memorable journeys and seminal moments, from Dakar to Addis Ababa, from Johannesburg to Cairo. In this time, 974 teams from 136 universities, representing 48 African countries, have taken part in the competition. In these 20 years, the significance of the Moot has gone beyond the event in itself. It has become the largest gathering of African law faculties, the most far-reaching human rights educational initiative on the continent, and the foundation for world-class postgraduate human rights courses. The Moot has facilitated the creation of an unparalleled network of law faculties, academics, judges and other experts in the field of human rights, whose combined efforts cover the full spectrum of human rights work all across our continent. The Moot competition is the peg on which the organizers hang a truly unique experience. Even after 20 years, the ever-growing human rights network established through the Moot competition attracts new institutions every year and contributes to the establishment of new academic programs at many African universities. The Master's Program in Human Rights and Democratization in Africa is a clear affirmation of this claim. Seen in perspective, the accomplishments of the Moot competition are an affirmation of its raison d'être and offer encouraging signs for what other possibilities can be achieved. These achievements make this competition unique in Africa and in the world, a positive pioneer on a continent better known for its shortcomings, an idea that became a legend through the opportunities it has offered and the contribution it has made. After years of declining standards at African universities, the Moot competition is proof that vision and industry can come together to make a strong contribution to the future of Africa's countries, universities, and peoples. Those who come to the Moot represent the best that each country has to offer. They are the tangible evidence of a continent growing and winning on the strength of its people and their ideas. They are the picture of an Africa in progress and development, the Africa of tomorrow. Nelson Mandela said of them, "One could hardly think of a better way to advance the cause of human rights than to bring together students who are the leaders, judges, and teachers of tomorrow from different countries, with chief justices and professors to debate some of the crucial issues of our time in the exciting and challenging atmosphere of a courtroom where they can test their arguments and skills against one another in a spirit of fierce but friendly competition." The African Human Rights Moot Court competition is a place where nations meet, where legal systems clash, and where their people find consensus around shared challenges and the universal notion of human rights. As a kind of traveling roadshow, the Moot brings this positive message to every country in which it is held, through publicity and debate around the themes chosen for a particular year. In a time of social unrest, economic challenge, and political change, the Moot competition contributes to the development agenda of a continent that needs to stay the course of democratization and human rights. In the words of former UN Secretary-General Kofi Annan, human rights, development, and peace are all interlinked. After years of crisscrossing Africa, revolutionizing human rights education, the importance of a continental program like the Moot is unaltered. The passion of its organizers and beneficiaries undiminished. In 2012, and for the very first time, the Moot competition will return to a country where it has been held before. Universidade Eduardo Mondlane is Mozambique's leading university and hosted the competition in 1998. Since then, it has become a partner university on the Continental Master's Program and established a vibrant human rights center and a successful legal aid clinic.
Muito bem-vindos à cidade de Maputo, a cidade das Acácias, e bem-vindos à 21ª edição do julgamento fictício sobre direitos humanos, que vai decorrer de 1 a 6 de outubro de 2012. A realização do julgamento fictício nesta cidade constitui, pois, uma grande honra para a faculdade e para o país, uma vez que se trata de matéria muito importante para os países e para as faculdades de Direito em particular. Nós sentimos-nos duplamente honrados por estarmos a organizar pela segunda vez estas jornadas, Realizamos as primeiras em 1998 e essas são as segundas. E estas jornadas têm como objetivo criar uma rede de jovens advogados, defensores de direitos humanos no continente africano. É, pois, objetivo destas 21ª jornadas consolidar tudo o que foi alcançado pelas anteriores jornadas e esperamos que os estudantes, os docentes e os outros convidados desfrutem daquilo que vão ser estas jornadas da cidade de Maputo, da sua cultura, da sua alimentação. Muito obrigado.
Through the Moot, young men and women in Africa are challenged to move the concept of human rights from academia and courtrooms into their own lives, and to make it a way of being. Desmond Tutu said to the Moot participants in 2011, "We believe that a person is a person through another person, that my humanity is caught up and indeed inextricably bound to yours. When I dehumanize you, I inexorably dehumanize myself. The solitary human being is a contradiction in terms, and it is in working for the common good that your humanity is realized. In giving future generations the skills they need to meet the challenges of their time, the Moot ensures that challenge meets with opportunity, and there is a constant momentum for change and progress. The students who come to the Moot share a common link with Abraham Lincoln, Mahatma Gandhi, Habib Bourguiba, F.W. de Klerk, Nelson Mandela, Barack Obama, and others who have changed our world. They too are lawyers. There is much that can be achieved through the instrument of law, many challenges that can be taken up, and much that can be realized. So much that can be done to keep moving Africa forward. In the words of the Moot slogan, "From human wrongs to human rights."